Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are featuring Iceman from the X-Men Marvel Legends Age of Apocalypse line by Hasbro. Okay, so this figure came out months ago, and it's just now that I picked him up. Partially because I found him for sale on Amazon. It was marked a couple dollars less than the normal retail price, and I decided to cave in because I'm starting to think I kind of need this Colossus figure. I forgot how many of the Age of Apocalypse figures Hasbro's put out already. For some reason in my head I thought they only had a few, but upon just thinking about it, I kind of realized they're like a bunch of figs into the Age of Apocalypse. And even though I'm not a completionist, I kind of thought, at this point I should just cave in and get them, because at least I'll have a good, solid core of characters, especially to round out the team. So we have Iceman here. He comes with a Build-A-Figure piece. As you can see, he comes with Colossus's right arm, and there's also an alternate fist. Likewise, Iceman has alternate hands as well. You can see them right there. As for Iceman himself, his bio reads, Iceman joins with the X-Men to stop Apocalypse and prevent a catastrophic culling of humankind in a harsh dystopian future. So this version of Iceman is not the Iceman you might be necessarily be familiar with. This is Iceman from an alternate timeline, and that timeline is the Age of Apocalypse. And like the box says, it's a very dystopian future. It's very dark, it's very grim. The X-Men are on the forefront of battling Apocalypse, and they're kind of led by like Magneto and Rogue. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so first impressions of Iceman while he's still in the tray. It looks great. My one big reservation is with the color choice in terms of the plastic. I would have preferred it more if he was kind of a little bit more on the white side as opposed to this kind of transparent blue. For some reason, when I think of ice, I think of, something that looks a little bit more on the color white. This for some reason, this almost kind of reminds me of the same kind of plastic they used on Hydro Man. And, when I think of Hydro Man, that's completely water. And even though ice is technically water, for me, I'd prefer it if this figure was much more on the white side. We've gotten previous Iceman figures before where, it actually looks more like ice. It's a little bit more white. This is clearly a bit more blue, and I don't know, not that it's a bad thing, but, as a personal preference, I would have preferred the white color. So even though this is Iceman from an alternate reality, you can easily blend him in to a standard X-Men lineup. He doesn't necessarily have to represent, Iceman from the Age of Apocalypse. If you've read the comics long enough, Iceman could take many different forms because, he could control ice and manipulate himself to turn into ice. Now, there's some, if you look close enough on his chest, there's a little bit of light dusting of white on his chest. Personally, I would prefer if they carried that over throughout the rest of his body, because I do think that using this blue plastic is a great base color. But I think it just needs a little bit more white highlighting throughout, just to really emphasize that this is a character made of ice. The icicle effect here looks really nice, especially with the white effects on it. I think it looked fabulous if they carried that effect, throughout his arms and his legs. And it's a nice way also if they did that to bring out some of the detailing and the musculature on the figure. The sculpting is really well done. It's a little bit softer in some places than others. For example, the icicle and ridges on his upper shoulder look a little too soft for my taste right there. But, for the icicles on the shoulders and the head, they're really, really clean, hard-edged, and really well-defined. I'm really liking the effect here, though, with that light misting of the white. It looks really, really good here. The character's build, he's a little bit more on that skinny body frame. It's kind of similar to what you might expect from a Spider-Man figure. But I believe there's a lot of like original pieces on this guy. I don't think there's. I mean, there is some reuse, like the upper legs and the lower torso, but I believe like the chest might be a new piece, unless it's been used before for the previous Iceman figures. The icicles in the back, I think they're glued on. They're not coming off. But yeah, it's nice, well sculpted, albeit a little bit on the soft side on some spots. Articulation wise, this guy's head rotates. He could look down about, wow, this guy could look down pretty far, which is a plus. He could look up pretty high, which is a plus also. His arms rotate. Excuse me. And they also go out. Bicep cut, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, articulated wrists. He does have an ab crunch, so he also arch back, waist swivel. His legs kick up about that much. They can kick out. Excuse me. Double jointed knees and ankle articulation. Since this character isn't really hindered by much of a costume, I think the poses you could get are should be pretty nice. There should be a lot of range of movement with this guy. I think it would have been awesome if they gave this guy some like extra accessories besides the extra hands. Like, I do realize they do include the Build-A-Figure pieces, but I think it'd be much more of a bonus if they gave us like icicle effects, like maybe something to like pretend he's like shooting ice from his hand, or even an alternate hand with ice being projected from it. Like, the figure by itself is really well done, but I think to really hammer the fact home that this guy can manipulate ice, it would have been cool if they included an accessory of some sort that would like really reinforce his power set, like whether it be like additional icicles, or maybe like a hand swap where his hands or his arms like an axe made of like ice, something like that would have been cool. Or even include the ice slide. Iceman travels through that ice slide. But it's a great figure. It's like I said, you can easily blend this into like your standard X-Men lineup. He doesn't necessarily have to be like fenced in with your Age of Apocalypse figures. So yeah, great figure overall. If I had to rate this guy numerically on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't know. My first thought would be an easy like 9 to 9.5. It sounds a little bit generous, but this is a very simple character, a very simple figure. And even though I do have some qualms with the color scheme, I do think overall it's really well done. The articulation's all there. The sculpting is nice. The quality of the plastic it's good for what it is. I do think though it would have been nice if they gave us some snow or ice accessories, but it's just a nice figure overall. It handles well. It's awesome. Alright, so let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.